Okay, so my first question is, what brought you to the University of Kansas to teach after living in Italy most of your life?
Well, I did not come to teach, but I came to this country as a visiting scientist. I used to work for a pharmaceutical company back home, and I was requested to gain some expertise in the transport of pharmaceuticals through cancer cells. And here at the Department of Pharmaceutical Chemistry, at those time, Dr. Borger, who was still actively working, was a world and is a world expert on that transport of drugs through the intestinal barrier and of cancer cells.
Okay, so what made you like transition into teaching then after all your
Well,
work
it
for
was
that?
family related. So when I'm married, I have 3 children, and I continued for a while to work in the lab, but I was really a professional, working full time in industry and then in research, and working part time in research for me did not make much sense. So,
Yeah.
and in a high school, I had a very humanistic oriented high school. I studied, besides the Italian literature in great detail, but French literature and then Greek and Latin for 5 years. And so this enabled me to take over into a more humanistic field and move into teaching Italian.
Okay. So what was the hardest transition for you and your family when you came?
Well, the hardest transition was to be far away from the family. So what we miss are the people. The country, yes, of course, but you can live far away from a place. And I don't know if maybe it's the same for you if you are from a different city here in the States. What you are missing, maybe here you build new friendships and it's very nice to be, but what you miss is the family and those connections that you set, in a different place. And
did you have any major culture shocks when you came here? Like, was there anything that was just you couldn't believe that was crazy?
Well, major culture shock was the language.
Well, yeah.
Because I thought I knew how to speak, not well, but sufficient amount of English when I moved here. But first of all, British English is so different, and in Europe we learn the British English. So when I came here, I absolutely did not understand anything.
Yeah.
And it was a tragedy because I had to work. I was not on vacation. I really had to work and understand the people at work. So that was very difficult. And then other things that I can say were very disorienting was all the systems, of measure. For example, here you're talking miles instead of kilometers, or when you buy food is in ounces and pounds, or the volumes, even the gas, because station is gallons and not liters. Or if I enter a store and I want to buy pair of pants or shoes, all the sizes are different. So I had really no reference points. Or even going to the doctor, they asked me my height and my weight, and I could not say because I know it in kilos and centimeters instead of in pounds and then foot and inches. So that was really difficult. And not for a day, it was difficult for a couple of years. Even just adjusting from degrees Fahrenheit to Celsius, just to know the temperature outside. To me, someone would say today is 50, I really did not get it,
Yeah.
It would be maybe in the hot desert of Sahara in some hot days. So that was something difficult and frustrating.
Do you feel like you're mostly like accustomed to everything now?
Oh yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. I can say now I can adjust very easily on both sides. Yeah.
Very cool. Okay, so after living in Italy, where food is a huge part of the culture and like people take pride in the quality, is it a big difference from Italian and American food, do you believe?
Absolutely, yes. And that actually, moving here and being a single woman and working, full time, I thought, I'm not going to cook. I'm just going to buy food and eat out at the restaurant. I could do that for 2 weeks. After that, I bought pans and pots
Yeah.
and things, and I started to go and search for ingredients to make my own food.
Mhm.
So after 2 weeks, I realized, no, I'm not going to eat outside. I'm not going to go to restaurants. I'm just starting to cook, and I had to. I'm happy. I did.
Yeah.
I recreated a little Italy inside my home.
Inside your kitchen. Do you feel like life in America is much more fast-paced than in Italy?
This I cannot compare. It is faster in a sense. It's more than faster. It's more organized, you know, than in Italy. In Italy, maybe is not that strict for times or for let's say objectives. When you have a goal, you know, people set goals much more loose if you want, but not necessarily is less work.
Just maybe like people here are like more busy and more like go all the time, maybe.
I find there is a less culture for vacation, you know. I know that people here are not going on vacation or maybe taking just 3 days to, I don't know, to work in the yard or in their house. For us, maybe it's not that relevant. So people, first of all, most people live in apartments and have not this great attachment to a house, but mostly to a city. So because people live outside, so they would meet friends in a big piazza or in a special setting of the city rather than in houses. So I can say many things are done more efficiently here. You know what to expect. In Italy is the big question mark. You do not know what to expect. But people generally are friendly in a way or another. Things get done. But here definitely is more organized, more regular.
Okay. So I'm not sure if you know anything about this, but I did a project on this in my class, so I'm just going to bring it up. A big issue in Italy right now is a debate over Venice separating from Italy to revive their old tradition as a free republic. And along with that freedom, the natives of Venice request the Palazzo Venezia be given to them as their embassy to Italy. So do you have any opinions on that? Or?
Well, yes, I do. And first of all, it's a disgrace that this is happening. And I just want also to defend a little bit the people of the Veneto, because what we are talking about are a group is not an irrelevant group. There are unfortunately many people who would like to separate. And they have been guided not just in recent years. This movement started over 20 years ago, when Italy, basically the borders with other countries of the European Union were basically disappeared, entering the European Union. And with the free movement through countries of the Union became a free movement of anyone. And so started to arrive in Italy big loads of people from former Eastern Europe, and by boat through the Mediterranean also a lot of people from Africa, and recently people from China or Asia. So a country that used to be a country of emigration, so people would move out of Italy in search of better life and job opportunities. All of a sudden, even though it did not have the wealth and the structures, was the target of a massive immigration. And people were not prepared to that. Obviously, we can be very thankful to the work that the immigrants do now in Italy. From any country they come many good people, hard workers, who are really appreciated. Obviously, in these conditions, as I told you, where there are not really controls at the borders, come also a lot of people who are just escaping because maybe they did something wrong in other places. And so we find that we have then a continuous strain between the people, immigrants who, let's say, misbehave, and the locals that obviously are frustrated because there is no way to keep track of who did what. And the violence that you see in the streets and the crimes is definitely much higher than it used to be. though this does not justify the willingness of a separation, of separating Venice and the Veneto region from the rest of Italy. Those people